Hey everybody out there in the comic book world, internet world, and Dark Avenger universe, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book review. We are 27 episodes away from 227.
Yep, 27.
Better have some big bucks for that. It's going to be a big week.
Big dust.
And if you're wondering how Mike's sitting here, we actually are trying out the timer. I mean, Mike usually is behind the camera to make sure it starts recording because this camera is very, how do I say, sensitive, and it actually went off. We recorded an entire part of a comic review once, and camera shut off, and we didn't even know it.
Oh, I was so
we had to reshoot the whole half hour, and wasn't fun. So, yeah, but we're trying out the timer this time as well.
But I will get up and...
Yeah, you'll check.
Yeah.
And it is still in HD, and as far as intros, outros, and stuff in between the parts, because there are always going to be parts in these comic reviews, it's coming as time goes on. Digital comic reviews, you'll see it when it's ready to go up, and you guys see the stuff above me here. Figures I got recently. I'm going to be reviewing them sometime in the beginning of March. Probably won't have time to do it this week. I'm going to be working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes this week, so probably next week I'll be reviewing those figures and others as time moves forward. Avenger log also you guys can look forward to.
And hopefully no figures will fall like in the last episode, because the last episode there was a figure that fell, remember?
On this review?
Last review with the Spider-Man figure that fell, remember?
That was a long... Oh, and yeah.
No, I'm not talking about the DVD review of Superman Return.
Yeah. So, comic books were released on the week of February 20th, 2013. One more week to go. There's number one in here. It's going to seem like complaints and grievances with a lot of books this week. Some of them just didn't feel up to par with me, but you'll see as we go through it. So, just letting you guys know in advance. I was either really happy with books, really unhappy with books, or just bored out of my mind with certain books. So, first off, we're going into Independence, IDW Locke and Key number 3. Love this book. Bode is still in the spirit world, and Dodge is still in Bode's body, but now Dodge is setting his final plan into motion. What Dodge does to Bode's mom in the very beginning of this book, wow, messed up. I will show you guys some artwork before we move into any other books. I still am showing artwork. I'm talking less spoilers, guys, because I want you guys to pick up a book if I believe it's worth picking up. So instead I'm just going to show brief artwork, and there is sex in this book, I will say that. But Dodge is basically eliminating people piece by piece. He goes after Dutch, he goes after oh god, what's his name? Shoot. He's going to open the black door basically, and oh, Tyler, thank you. Why am I losing my mind with these things? He went after Tyler at the very end of the book. So basically he's taking out all the key players that basically can stop him or have the ability to stop him. Also, the prom is shown in this with Kinsey for a bit. There's really no good pages. I'm trying to find one. There
was the other page in the beginning with the statue.
With the statue, you think? Which one? Which one?
No, keep going.
Which page are you talking about, the statue?
I think it's the next one. Yeah, that one.
Okay, this is a good page. Here's some artwork. Good job, Mike. And if you're interested in any of the other books, here they are. Volume 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. 5. I was about to say, wait a minute. So there's all 5 of the other volumes. Really good book. Hard to describe, because as you guys saw during the live show last week when I was trying to tell Mark about this book, I sucked at representing it. But the book is so awesome, it's like you have to read it to understand it. This is Joe Hill. You read the first book, you'll understand why it's really good. If you haven't been reading Locke and Key, I would highly recommend you check out at least the first volume. I know a few people got the book on my recommendation and they fell in love with it. It's hard to describe what the series is about, but you get it after you read it. To explain all 5 volumes, including this one, impossible. You'd have to go piece by piece with the story, and I would have to start from the beginning again, reread the whole book so that I could give a good way of reviewing it. But I did do a comic book corner with books, with the first book, I believe. So, this is a really good series. I highly recommend you guys check it out. If you haven't been part of the Locke and Key universe yet. This is the last story, but you can always go back and get the other 5 trade paperbacks. Book of the month this month. I know there's one more week left, but I don't see really much next week that's going to hit me as well as this book has. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 19. You guys should know this by now. I really love this series. The Turtles formulate a plan to go after Krang and to save the princess's mother and father. And while back on Earth, April goes back to Splinter and tells him what she found out. I love how Honeycutt actually had his voice box fixed. Donnie's in 7th heaven because he's working with Honeycutt on fixing a missile that's going to end Krang once and for all. Kaori finds out what's in Burham Island, which you guys are going to have to read the book to find out. And the Turtles put their plan into motion. And the last page, oh man, it's as they say in the book, it's do or die time. This is it. And it's just spectacular. The artwork in this book, once again, is awesome as well. Highly recommend you guys check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Even if you're not a fan of the Turtles, this book is just off the hook. I have such an itchy nose tonight. I notice I've been rubbing every 2 seconds. So, a lot's going on, but this book is just spectacular. Here's another page here. I love this cover. Normally I like getting the Kevin Eastman covers, but this cover is just spectacular as well. This book was absolutely fantastic this week as well. Highly recommend you guys check this book out. We're now in the big 2. DC Comics, Batman Beyond Unlimited, issue number 13. First story arc was the longest, and it actually involves stuff that happened. For those of you that saw the Batman Beyond movie, where it turned out Tim Drake was captured when he was young by the Joker and tortured into becoming a little Joker. For those of you that saw the Batman movie, you'll understand this story. For those of you that haven't, I'm not going to bother explaining the story then, because you're going to be like, I don't know what happened in the movie. You have to watch the movie. If you watch the movie, this story has a connection to what happened in the past and what's happening now in the Beyond universe. Moving into the second story, however, the final part to 10,000 Clowns happens. Finally, after... Superman? Oh, there is Superman. That's the third story.
Oh.
Finally, yeah. After 13 issues, 10,000 Clowns has ended. And long story short, it was a very short story. It was literally, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages. And it was done. 10 pages and the story was over. And long story short, we all knew Batman or Terry was going to end up winning in the end. However, he didn't, because the Joker King is still alive. We then go into the Superman story, which was unfortunately very, it felt more like a segue story, to be honest. Superman's captured. Everybody's talking about how it's Superman's fault. He gave this race the advantage to try, and now they're rebelling against the Alpha aliens, and Superman's having flashbacks of Jor-El, and we also get to see for the first time in a long time Pa Kent, who actually makes mention of Superman when he was in Smallville playing football, why he wouldn't let Superman or Clark play football, because he knew he would have shined, but he knew wanting to be a star wasn't about winning. It was simply wanting to help, and you know you could. Basically, he wanted Clark to use his power to help people, not to win sports.
Well, that was the whole point of his role model.
This book definitely has, even though it's DC's new logo and it's fallen under the whole, it's not falling under the New 52, by the way, guys. This is not one of the New 52 books. This is the old DCU. And you could tell by the way, first of all, the way Pa Kent looks is definitely pre New 52. However, in Action Comics 17, which came out this week, I did read it. The backup story involved Pa Kent. And Pa Kent, before they died, because now in the New 52 they died before Clark came to Metropolis or anything, he looked a lot like the 1986 Pa Kent as well. Ooh, fly. So,
what are you doing?
In the end, Superman's disciples, or the people he saved, end up breaking him out, and yeah, that's where basically the story ends. This is digital first. It was okay this week, this book. This week, I'm glad it just ended the 10,000 Clowns, so we'll get a new Batman Beyond story. Looking forward to part 2, to the first story, which connects to the Batman Beyond movie, and the Superman, Beyond series. I'm loving it. This story was more along the lines of Superman finding out what exactly he did, what the repercussions were to what he had done on this planet. So, I leave it up to you guys. Nightwing issue number 17. Man, things got bad for Dick really fast. One thing I will say though is I like the artwork in this book. It's really good. There's a splash page especially I wanted to show off the artwork for. Not this one. This one. The artwork is spectacular in this book. I really like this artwork. I hope you guys can see it. This book was just really great art. Basically, everything's going wrong for Dick. Poor Dick. He lost the circus. They don't want to stay anymore because Dick's the only one that made it out and wasn't affected by anything the Joker did. Amusement Mile is gone, burned down to the ground basically thanks to the Joker. And basically, Dick is like, he's the Rock of the Bat family. And yes, it's guest starring Damian, and there is a part towards the end of the book where Damian and Dick have their moment, their
team up.
No, not team up. Damian gives like that heart-to-heart talk, even though we all know Damian is not one for heart-to-heart. So he kind of like levels Dick out, sort of, and Dick's gonna be okay. I just feel like I feel bad for Dick because he lost everything. I think this has impacted Dick more than anybody else in the Bat family right now because Dick basically lost everything. He lost what he was going for at the very beginning of the Nightwing series. He lost Amusement Mile. He lost the circus. He's lost Raya. He lost everything thanks to the Joker. The only thing that has me cringing is the end with the dealer. The background stuff all has Court of Owl stuff. I swear to God, they better not go backwards with Nightwing and have him going at the Court of Owls or anything because that would just be stupid.
Didn't the Court of Owls like
end? Yeah, it ended, but I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. It says next issue, Tragedy Strikes. This is really good. This more along the lines is like the prologue to what happened with Nightwing after the Death in the Family story arc. So more along the lines of just easing out of Death in the Family, moving into the next story arc kind of book. So it's up to you guys. I liked it. I really like the artwork. I hope the artist stays for the next story arc. Really good. Book of the week for me from DC Comics is definitely Green Lantern issue 17. The first Lantern is free. He's trapped the Guardians, and we find out a tiny piece of the origin of the first Lantern and how the Guardians had turned on the first Lantern because they thought he was crazy, and how they decided to sever themselves from the Great Heart, so to speak, so that they wouldn't feel. And also Simon Baz is now in the, whatever the hell this prison's called. I keep forgetting what this prison's called. But we find out the first Lantern's name, however, is Volthoom, however you pronounce it. And it still doesn't say where he is. I forgot the place that this was called.
Is this where they attack the Guardians?
Black Hand versus, what?
I hate to interrupt. Like, is this where they fight the Guardians?
No.
Oh.
It's Black Hand and Simon Baz, where Black Hand is, and there's a whole conversation between them. And the one part I am going to spoil that really was wow for me, and I love the artwork, by the way. This is some good artwork. This is Jeff Johns' final story, so it's like everything that he's done coming to the head. Basically, the first Lantern can change the past, so to speak, but he's not powerful or strong enough to do it yet. He tries to do it with Gantha, but it fails epically. I'm trying to find the page where there's something that happens between Simon Baz and Black Hand. I want to get that. I don't think I passed it yet. No. Going slowly. Here we go.
The story looks really
Black Hand is choking Simon Baz, and then all of a sudden, Simon Baz and Black Hand goes back to his human form before he became Black Hand, and Simon Baz turns into Abin Sur. There's your spoiler for Green Lantern. But then, after like 3 panels, it goes back to Simon Baz and Black Hand, and it's like, what the heck just happened. Is Al-Bin-Sur coming back? We'll have to wait and find out. So basically, the First Lantern now has to feed on other emotions to get stronger again. And that's where this book leaves off. Which then goes into, I have these in order, which is why Green Lantern isn't first. Green Lantern Corps issue 17, the First Lantern, we don't even know how he got to Guy, but he's already in Guy's mind, and he's manipulating Guy. He's manipulating what happened in Guy's past. And once again, the artwork is wow. As you can see, it shows all the different forms of Guy Gardner from when he was a kid all the way until present day Guy Gardner. And it's just, he sees Guy's past and then he changes it to something else, and it goes into what would have happened from there. It's like more along the lines of what ifs. And I don't know if the First Lantern is actually changing it or he's just showing what could have happened. For example, he's showing what would have happened if Guy Gardner stayed a Red Lantern, and it doesn't look good for the rest of the GL Corps if Guy Gardner had stayed a Red Lantern and got his hands on a Yellow Lantern ring and still kept his Green Lantern ring. And basically, he's like, change it back, fix it, and the First Lantern's like, I do whatever the hell I want. That's where they leave you up here. Next issue is going to involve John Stewart and Fatality. Going into Green Lantern New Guardians, however, Kyle, this is New Guardians number 17, Kyle is more submissive to what's going on in this world that Volthoom, the First Lantern, created. He's more like, first he changes Kyle's past to if Kyle gave up the Green Lantern ring and Alex was still alive, and Kyle actually likes that, and he actually wants it to stay, and the First Lantern actually interrupts it and says, you're one of the weaker of the two. I basically gave you this, and you basically submitted right away. Go check what that is.
Yeah, I hear a strange noise.
And then he changes it to if
probably the boiler.
Guy Gardner, not Guy Gardner, if Kyle Rayner had stayed with his dad, or his dad had taken him. It was just a bunch of what ifs, and then in the end he actually goes to God. There's another part, but I'll skip that.
Thing.
Okay. And he actually says, I'll give you a choice. Which one do you want? And he actually submits. They make Kyle look really weak in this book, and that's kind of a down. I think that's kind of bad for it, but he's like, you pick whatever you want, and I'll give it to you. He's like, it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what that means for me. I just want to give Alex her life back. He's like, fascinating, but no. And he basically throws Kyle back into the regular world, and that's where this issue leaves off. So Kyle's kind of more submissive, whereas Guy Gardner's fighting back. Kyle is like, he submits to the if Alex had lived, but when he had changed to different points in times where basically there are variants to each decision everybody's made, and I like how the First Lantern can manipulate that and show what would have happened. But the one where Alex was alive is the one Kyle wanted, and that's kind of, I believe, why he submitted, because in the other ones, he wasn't as submissive towards them. But as a White Lantern, that kind of makes Kyle look bad, that he submitted so fast to allowing Volthoom to change his past, whereas Guy fought against it, and in the end, we don't know what's going to happen with Guy, but here, we just know that Kyle just was left alone, and Volthoom left him. So that's it from DC Comics. So now let's go into some Marvel books. Captain America number 4.
Oh boy.
I'm really not sure I'm coming back for 5. I've tried to trust Rick Remender, really have. This series, I feel like I'm holding on to it, but at the same time I'm just not enjoying it. I'm not really into this psychedelic, Zola's virus is in Captain America's body and is slowly trying to take him over, and Zola's son finds out that Zola's his father, and this is, I believe, I don't understand how all this is happening. Years are passing by. After the last, from the last book, which was issue 3, 11 years have passed. That's how the book opens up, 11 years later. So apparently it's now 11 years further. So what exactly is going on? Time travel is going to be involved? I have no clue. So 11 years later, it's Cap and his son, or Zola's son, But Ian basically is now 12, I believe, maybe a little older. With all this time jumping, I don't know. But basically, we have another flashback to when Steve was young and his mom was sick and the rent was due and he had stolen, and his mom said, "You're a good person, Steve, no matter what." He goes back and actually says, "I stole this and I did this. I know I did wrong. I'll work off everything I've taken from you." And the guy sends him to work. But then we go back to the present, and that's where Ian finds out about Zola and everything like that. And yeah, this is just very out of this world for me. For example,
let me see.
I don't think I could follow this story really anymore. And I know this is going to be a 12-issue story. Maybe I'll come back when this first story's over. If it's a light week in comics, I might pick up Captain America #5. I'm just not feeling the story. It's just not my kind of thing. It's too out of this world for me, to be quite honest. This book didn't give me any incentive to want to pick up issue 5. We'll just have to see when issue 5 comes out, if I'll have the time or the space for it. If I have the space for it in my pile, I'll give it maybe another shot, but if I don't, probably going to let it go until the next story arc starts up, because this is just too much for me. Thor God of Thunder, issue #5. Once again, this I was told, or I was led to believe, was going to be the last part to the God Butcherer. The next issue is the origin of Gore the God Butcherer, and it jumps from past to present. Gore steals the heart from a elder god, and he's going to forge his army, and we find out what happened in the past. I'm not going to spoil that. That made Gore feel this way, and why he's going after all the gods, and he's going to leave Thor for last. I won't tell you guys how that is. You'll have to read the book. A lot of talking. Thor, he actually runs away into time, and we don't know where, but Thor follows after him, and it turns out it's the future, and we get to see future Thor teaming up with present Thor. It turns out that even though Thor followed Gore into the time sphere, he arrived 300 years, or was it 300? I want to make sure it was 300. 900 years further. Gore showed up, and then 900 years later, Thor showed up, and yeah. So now it's young Thor and old Thor versus the God Butcherer. And then they actually end the past. I don't believe we'll be seeing the past anymore, because this is where Thor is saying, "We will never speak of this day again. Do you hear me? Never. For as long as we shall live, we'll never speak of it again." And I guess you can kind of say that the first story arc's done, because now we're not going to be seeing the past Thor anymore. Now it's just all about going after Gore. Next issue is going to be his origin. I have no idea if the story is going to progress at all, or if it's just going to give us the villains, or like his origin, and then in issue 7 pick up where this issue left off. We'll have to wait and find out. I thought it was pretty good. I was led to believe that this was going to end, but I guess we're going to be sticking with this a couple of issues more. And this is not a bi-weekly book. This is a once-a-month book, so probably this is all going to end by the middle to end of spring, which is, I guess, okay, but for a once-a-month book, I was expecting it to end a bit sooner. Indestructible Hulk issue 4 was pretty good. Bruce Banner introduces himself to the people he had handpicked to work with him, with this whole Bruce Banner, or Hulk destroys, Bruce Banner builds. But it turns out he had made a request. What was the request for? To explore the undersea city of Lemuria? And he's like, "But you kind of turned me down." She's like, "Yeah, we did, until," and I'll show this page, "this happened." So we're sending the Hulk in, and you can explore whatever you want. And it turns out this big baddie called Atuma, an Atlantean warlord, is behind all this. We get to see an underwater helicarrier. That's awesome. And I love it. He just, not even 2 seconds there, he robbed the robot Axie's back, and after the 7th time he was destroyed, the fifth time he was destroyed, Bruce Banner leaves like a threat, and then he just leaves, like Maria Hill gives a instruction, so to speak, or orders, and they just grab him, throw him into a torpedo bin, and he's like, heart rate's climbing, this is crazy, what's going on? And then he just hulks out, and he goes all Hulk on the, I want to say Atlanteans, I believe they're Atlanteans, and then the unexpected happens, and that's where we're left off finally with a to be concluded. Next issue is it's a 2-part story arc, unless this is all connected to the first 3 issues. Really good. The artwork was awesome. I showed you guys bits and pieces of it. I want to try to find you a Hulk. Here's a nice Hulk. So I'm enjoying Indestructible Hulk. I know the artist is going to change very soon when this story arc ends. We'll see if I stick with the Indestructible Hulk when that happens. But until then, yeah. So that's Indestructible Hulk. I'm liking it. Mark Waid's writing is just plain freaking awesome. And with that, I have 2 minutes, and there's a couple of books left, so I think I'm going to cut out this part, and we'll go into the next part. At some point, guys, there will be stuff I put in between the first part of my reviews and the second. As soon as me and Mike figure out what we want to put in between parts 1 and 2, I'll probably give you guys a warning, and it'll be part 1, the little segment, skit, or commercial I have in mind, and then we'll go into part 2. But for right now, we'll be right back with part 2. There's no commercial interruptions with these yet, or no skit interruptions yet. So see you guys in literally a click. For you guys, we're going to start right away in the same video, so hold on guys, be right back. Hey guys, we're going to continue along. So, Avengers, issue number 6. Once again, spotlights. It's just one-shots. But this apparently connects to the next story arc. It's the origin of Captain Universe, how the universe picked... Oh, what was her name? Come on. Shang-Chi... Oh, Tamara DeVox. And Shang-Chi's kind of trying to figure out or get Captain Universe to remember who she is, because she doesn't. And when she does... Also, there is a Superior Spider-Man moment. Oh. And if the writers are trying to get us to hate Spider-Man because of his attitude, these 2 pages alone did it. He spit in the guy's food. Ew. Well, he didn't spit in it, but he's got an attitude. And I don't like him anymore. And I agree with the guy. He's like, I really hate this guy, I think, now. And he shows up with Tony Stark. He's like, you gotta do... I just don't like him. You're gonna have to do something about those children, Stark. If I was Tony Stark, I'd be like, get the hell out of here. You're fired. You're off the Avengers. Go find somewhere else to be. And it turns out Black Veil's real name is... Oh my god. It's Night Mask. And he's giving a warning about the White event. And I'll show the last page because it's really no surprise. This is the next story arc. And it's coming from space. And you get a nice builder machine code. So from now on, if you want to check out the code, or if you want to go back the other 5 issues and see what they've been saying, you can finally find out what they're saying. This book has slowly become the weaker of all my Avenger books, even though I dropped Secret Avengers. But out of the Avenger books I'm buying now, Young Avengers, New Avengers, and I did drop Uncanny Avengers, for those of you that will notice next week. All the Uncanny books come out, I dropped Uncanny Avengers. So other than the Avenger books I've dropped, this is the next one that's closest to being dropped. I don't know, I'm trying to hold on to it because it looks interesting, but Jonathan Hickman is sticking with the very... I know we're only 6 issues in. I understand that. Maybe it's going to take 12 issues before they move on to something else, but I just feel like I'm still in the very first story arc, even though we're not anymore. The first story arc ended 3 issues ago. 4, really, because 3 issues. This is the 3rd issue of solos. We had Hyperion, we had Smasher, and now we have Captain Universe. And then before all 3 was the final part to the first story arc. Maybe I'm gonna hold on to the whole white event that's gonna go on, and then see if after that we're gonna move away. But from the solicitations, it doesn't exactly look like it, and that's why this is on a thread. Honestly, we'll see if I keep this book in the times to come. But I will be getting issue 7. We'll see. It's a bi-weekly book, and it's a $3.99 book. If it doesn't keep me, I'm not going to keep it because I have other books. There are a lot of other books I'm getting, and yeah. So, Superior Spider-Man issue 4. This book, just like Avengers, maybe not really care about Spider-Man anymore.
I looked through it.
I'm not a fan of the attitude. Doc Ock's upset that Peter Parker didn't get his doctorate, so he's going back to college to get it. And I love the whole, and they made fun of this on Comic Nation. He goes, access memory. And even up to, however you pronounce his name, is like, access memory? What? And he's gonna kill another supervillain, or he's gonna attempt to, and Pete's like, no, that's not who we are, and yeah, that is not happening. And the only thing that saved this book was the last page. The last page is the only reason why I'm interested in coming back to Superior Spider-Man. Now, a lot of people may argue the only reason I don't like this is because it's not Peter Parker. He's not whiny. Listen, I don't give a crap if Spider-Man or Peter Parker is whiny, or if he's like at least superior, or if he's not whiny, or whatever. This is just getting to the point where it's like, okay, I see exactly what Doc Ock's doing. Dan Slott built Spider-Man up in big time. Spider-Man finally got the job of his dreams. Mary Jane came back. You know, him and Carly broke up, so it made that possibility for him and Mary Jane to get back together. But Carly's still in his life. Kane moved on. Kane became Scarlet Spider throughout all this. Spider Island was spectacular. You know, Doc Ock was dying, and it was the whole promise of maybe something bigger. And then Superior Spider-Man happened. And a lot of people are arguing the only reason I don't like Superior Spider-Man, or the only reason why we're criticizing it, is because we're not getting whiny Peter Parker anymore. You know what? That's true. But now we're getting jackass Peter Parker.
Literally.
Literally. And you can see that all Doc Ock is doing is ruining Peter Parker's life. We all know he's going to get fired, probably from his job and the Avengers. You know, everybody's thinking it's one or the other. It could be both. Believe me, after reading him in here, if I was Tony Stark, I'd kick him out of the Avengers. And you just know. The only reason I'm coming back is I want to see Green Goblin versus Doc Ock Spidey. This could be interesting. And they're saying we're going to get madder by issue 10 or 9. And that's only another 5 issues away. And this is a bi-weekly book. So that's about 3 months away. It's April. So I don't want to get any angrier at this book. Because if I get any angrier, that's not making me want to keep it. That's making me want to just say, you know what? I'll come back when Pete comes back. Because we all know at some point Pete's going to come back. After Doc Ock completely ruins Peter Parker's life. Or makes it worse than it was ever before.
Well, he's doing a good job ruining it, I'll say that much.
So I'm just not really digging it. It's not the fact that it's not whiny Spider-Man. It's not the fact that, you know, it's something new and Doc Ock's proving to be the superior Spider-Man. No, if anything, Doc Ock is morphing Spider-Man into something I don't personally like. He's ignoring things. He's just prioritizing messed up. He's not the whole power and responsibility that Peter Parker was. And to be honest, it's just getting to the point where I'm tired of it. I mean, it's 4 issues only, but I don't know. I'm just not digging it. I'm just not really digging it anymore. I think I'd rather read Ultimate Spider-Man with Miles Morales than this. And it's getting to the point where I might actually, if I drop Superior Spider-Man, I might try for Ultimate Spider-Man.
Well, it's been getting great reviews.
I know, so I might. I'm just not digging it. You know, kill me for saying it, I'm just not a fan. And I'm probably at some point going to... It's like I'm reading it right now to see where it's going, but if it gets any worse, I don't think I'm going to be reading it at all anymore.
Alright, going into a comic, X Factor issue number 252, Hell on Earth, War Part 3. This issue was really good. It's... continues on with the fight of the demons or Pluto especially, against the X Factor team. Artwork is amazing as always.
Oh, and thank you for reminding me. New artist in this book, but the artwork was good. I didn't show any artwork from the book.
You didn't?
I don't think I did.
Ooh.
Sorry. Give me 2 seconds. I'll show you guys this artwork from Superior Spider-Man. I don't want to miss artwork in a book.
Yeah, so basically it talks to Tyre, does his little like talking and how the team is and all that. The only oh, and by the way, Darwin makes a save in this comic book as a spoiler. I'm not going to give too much away. I just want to say that from what I read, like Tyre's like saying like all the things that he does, like all the moves, like you know how when you read a book and there's like no pictures and they say, oh, I do this, and with a punch I do this, he misses, and it's like we see it, you know. It's not. I mean,
you don't have to telegraph it.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I didn't feel it was necessary, but I really like the fight scene. However, there are 2 people in this comic book who get to another dimension, and the ending, what Mephisto does in the ending to one of the X Factor teams. Oh man, I cannot wait to see next issue and next issue cover. I can't wait to see as well, but you could go check out the in-depth comic review I did on Dark Avenger Inc., but it was just really good. I just felt that that part Tyre did wasn't really necessary, but I recommend you guys absolutely pick it up. And that's the only comic I have this week.
Okay, getting into some books that I'm not going to complain about. Savage Wolverine issue 2 was awesome. It's just as we predicted at the end of the last issue. Wolverine just fell, hit a couple of trees, and landed, and healing factor. Also, somebody else gets sent to the island. And I don't know who it is, but probably everybody else does. Once again, don't know every single character in the Marvel U at this time. And I know somebody's going to be writing right now who that is. Love the artwork. Wolverine wants to just get to the temple, destroy the machine, and get the heck off the island. And Shanna is she just likes to talk and talk and talk. And Wolverine's like, woman, just be quiet. Let's figure this out. Let's just get off this island. The sooner we get off, the happier I'm going to be. And she says, same goes for me. And the other person on the island is trying to figure out how to get off the island as well. And he actually deciphers what the people, the primal people, he deciphers their language, and they believe him to be a god. And I have a feeling we're going to be seeing Man-Thing really, really soon.
By looking at that, yeah.
I love this book. It was just fun to read. You guys really should check it out. Not sure how Wolverine's going to stand up to a book like this. This book is a really, really good book, and I hear a lot of people are already cringing with Wolverine, but I'm really liking Savage Wolverine. The covers are awesome. The internal artwork's great. Frank Cho is just really good at drawing women, but he's really awesome at drawing Wolverine as well. The artwork in this book is spectacular, and the story is really good too, so can't wait to see where this is going to go in the months and so to come. Deadpool issue 5. Deadpool gets pushed beyond his breaking point in this one. He takes out a bunch of presidents, and in the end, there's only one remaining. And for those of you that have seen the previews already, it's
George Washington?
George Washington.
Because he was the first president of the United States. I had a funny feeling it was going to be him that was going to be last.
But this book is just awesome. He doesn't even need the sword to take out Reagan. I'm not going to say what he did, but for those of you that watched the Alien 4 movie, the 4th Alien movie, you'll understand this reference. He basically pulled the Alien 4 ending on Ronald Reagan.
Oh, I see.
Using space against him. That's all I'm going to say. For those of you that didn't watch Alien 4, you didn't suffer. Believe me, that movie was just horrid. But the ending, basically, things don't look good for Deadpool and Michael, the guy that has all this power and that released all the presidents and stuff. He's just standing there saying, this is all my fault, I'm so sorry. But George Washington, at the end of this book, absolutely has the upper hand.
And that's not telling a lie, for sure. You know, George Washington, no, I never tell a lie.
To be concluded. This is the next issue of, I believe the next issue is the final Tony Moore issue. Wow, again, really, see? These covers are so bad. Some of them have like that ink that just, you put your hand on it too long and you get a fingerprint forever.
They really should make an invention of comic gloves where...
No, we don't need comic gloves. Who needs comic book gloves?
Well, it doesn't ruin the cover then. Comic gloves.
It's called putting it down on a table.
Or putting it down on the table.
That's what I'm going to have to do with certain comic covers because they just like to bleed the ink.
Or it's sensitive.
Really good. out of the box thinking, and just the ending, it makes you go, I cannot wait for issue 6, but at the same time I can, because I believe it's the last Tony Moore artwork, but I believe the next artist is really awesome as well. So looking forward to the next artist, the next story arc. Can't wait for issue 6. Definitely recommend it. Now, this is your jumping on point, my friends. Daredevil, issue number 23. Everything that happened from issue 22 back, done, over with. Even though the ending of issue 22 kind of leads into this, I'll tell you guys, the ending of issue 22, Foggy says he might have cancer. Here, he finds out. And it turns out the person that's trying to go after Daredevil, yeah, he actually sends people with the same abilities as Daredevil out after him. They try to blind the people and give them the radar sense that Daredevil has. Artwork.
The artwork.
It's really good. What are you talking about?
It looks different. So.
No, it's the same artist. Yeah.
Oh.
Samney.
Oh, there was only a few. Okay, now that.
Okay.
There was only a few that was a little. Okay,
and I love it. And it turns out that they're fresh with the radar sense, so to speak. And it turns out if a loud noise, so to speak, was to hit them, it just throws their entire equilibrium off. Here's some artwork for you guys. And Daredevil takes them all out by using very, very loud sounds. For example, a gunshot sound, like right next to the person's head. Screaming. He actually got hurt and he screamed, and that hurt another person. So it ends with Foggy in the doctor's office. The ending is just wow. It's just whoa. Mark Waid has a way of writing Daredevil, even in the Indestructible Hulk, cannot compare to the way he writes Daredevil. The ending to this was heart-gripping. It had me feeling at the end of this book. You know, and it's very hard to get the readers to feel anything with stories nowadays. You feel at the end of this book. And I can't wait for issues to come. But if you want a jumping on point, this is it. Right here, right this issue. It's a $2.99 book. I mean, compared to the $3.99 books that aren't doing so well, it's $2.99. Worth the money. Loving Daredevil. And I'm a person who, if you would have told me 3 years ago I'd be reading Daredevil, I would have laughed at you. He was one of the characters I never in a million years thought I'd be reading, let alone enjoying. So Daredevil was just spectacular. And now the book that I've been waiting for forever. Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness. Nova #1. My first cosmic book in the Marvel U.
This I got.
Man, this book was awesome. References back and forth between the kid who becomes Nova, and remember, he's wearing a black helmet. This isn't the gold helmet Nova. This kid, Sam, his father works as a janitor, but we get to see he has flashbacks, and Sam doesn't believe it's real. He thinks that his father is completely full of it. He's just a drunk, because the father's a drunk. And the mother knows the truth, obviously. And there's a little daughter involved as well, a little sister, and she believes all the stories that the father is telling her. Artwork, Ed McGuinness. Love his artwork.
I will admit the artwork's really good.
Love Ed McGuinness's artwork. It just fits. It fits this book, and I've always loved Ed McGuinness's artwork, even back in Superman. So Sam doesn't believe his father, and he actually says that his father's a loser. And when is everybody gonna wake up and see that he's just a loser? And the mother actually snaps him and says, "The sacrifices he made, I hope you grow up to be half the man your father is." And Sam feels like he's trapped. He's in this small town where you can go from point A to point B in the snap of a finger, or in a skateboard ride, so to speak. And he's just doomed to become what his father is, which is a janitor. But he doesn't know that his father's one of the Novas, the black helmet Novas, not the gold helmet Novas. Apparently there's a difference. I was listening to Comic Nation and they were talking about the differences, but basically the black helmets are more of the black ops, so to speak, and the gold helmets are the superior ones. So the father disappears, and this is an intro book, so I'll give you guys a little bit more, especially because this was my favorite book of the entire week. He decides to chase after his father, jumps on his his skateboard. He trips on a rock and falls and bashes his head into the ground. the very hard stone ground, and you just see him coming in and out of consciousness. I don't know if he rollerbladed into the... No, that's a parked car. So no, he just fell onto his head. You can see he fell directly onto his head. There's nothing hit him. He just fell on his head. And he wakes up, and I'm going to spoil the last page for you guys because everybody saw the previews for issue 2. Rocket Raccoon.
Oh yeah, that is Rocket Raccoon.
And he's like, we got to talk to you about your dad. And we see that she's holding the helmet. And he's like, just peachy. So it turns out Sam's dad was telling the truth. He actually is a Nova. So this is going to be very interesting. This is like the origin of the present day Nova that we saw from the Avengers vs. X-Men story arc. So I'm looking forward to that.
He looks like a pretty cool character.
This is awesome. My book of the week, like in whole, and this is, you know, even over Green Lantern, even though Green Lantern was awesome, I would say they're tied for my books of the week. If we want to go into DC Marvel, DC's book of the week is Green Lantern, and Marvel's is absolutely Nova. It was awesome, but book of the month always goes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because that book just keeps delivering every single month. Even though the artwork was in the second story arc, that book just kept delivering each and every month, each and every issue, even the micro series. But we're talking about Nova right now. Nova is spectacular. I highly recommend, out of all the #1s that have come out, I love All New X-Men, but Nova is up there in my top 5. I mean, I could drop every single Marvel Now book minus the All New X-Men and a few other books and Nova. And I can't wait. Next week is Guardians of the Galaxy, issue 0.1 or 0.1. I'm really looking forward to that as well. Nova, spectacular. Go to your local comic shops. Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness. You can never go wrong with that team. They did the Hulk line for a while, and that was when the Hulk was really good. But I have a feeling their Nova line is going to surpass even the Hulk. And that's it for this week, guys. So, let's round out the books and end this comic review. Hope you guys are liking these one-parters. Working really hard to try to figure out my my video editing program, and it's taking me quite a time, so I apologize for that. But I will be doing digital reviews as soon as I can. I know you guys, I owe you January, and after next week I'll owe you February, but I'm going to get it done soon. It's just very hard to explain. A lot has been going on since the beginning of the new year. First month, like I said, I've been working on Dark Avenger Inc. Plus, second month, Dark Avenger Inc. Cookie's been very sick, and we're taking care of her and trying to get her back to a norm. So this way she's at least okay again. And it's just, it takes a lot out of everything in the house. So I'm trying to get back into a routine, so just bear with me, guys, as much as humanly possible. Nova #1. Absolutely must have. Definitely check out the first issue. It was really awesome. Daredevil issue 23. This is your jumping on point. I highly recommend you guys check it out if you haven't already. Deadpool issue 5. Thinks out of the box. I love it. You guys should check it out. Savage Wolverine issue 2 continues to amaze. And I'm pleased to say that this book has been an awesome read so far. X Factor 252.
Great issue. That one part that they put in there was necessary, but I'd still say pick it up. Awesome.
And here come the gripes and people that are going to be leaving me comments saying I just miss Whiny Parker, which isn't the case. I just can't stand Doc Ock anymore. Superior Spider-Man 4, I leave up to you guys. Avengers #6. Once again, a one-shot. I'll be going into the next story arc, but if the next story arc doesn't wow me, I'm probably going to end up dropping it. Indestructible Hulk issue 4, looking forward to issue 5. I leave it up to you guys, though. Thor God of Thunder issue 5 is pretty good. I leave it up to you guys. Captain America issue 4, if I have room in my pre-order for Captain America issue 5, I'll get it. If not, this story is too out there for me. I trust Rick Remender. I've read Rick Remender before. This story is just not my cup of tea. It's just too sci-fi for me. I'm not really into... I'm into sci-fi, but not extreme sci-fi. Green Lantern New Guardians issue 17 was great, as well as Green Lantern Corps issue 17. Definitely check those out, but absolutely check out Green Lantern issue number 17. Was awesome. Looking forward to the next issue. Nightwing issue 17 was good. I leave it up to you guys, though. Same thing with Batman Beyond Unlimited issue 13. I leave it up to you guys. If you're not already checking out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, guys, check it out. It's an awesome series. Loving it. Each and every issue, each and every month. There's a micro series coming out soon with the villains, since we did the superheroes, or the heroes, not superheroes. And Locke and Key issue 3, awesome book as well. Definitely check that out. Joe Hill, if you haven't been reading it, check out the trade paperbacks first, though, or else you'll be completely lost Also, don't forget to check out comicrelated.com for your comic-related news, reviews, and more, as well as BKBN for even more news, reviews, and more.
.net.
.net. BKBN.net. I'll have links in the description. I'm working on fixing my description to have all the links to everything I'm talking about here. Look forward to reviews for Iron Patriot, Iron Man, the Heroic Age Iron Man, and the Classic Iron Man in about a week, in March, the very first week of March. And there'll be more stuff coming, and look forward to the Avenger log, which is also going to be coming soon. I know I keep teasing it. As soon as I get time, guys, I promise you I'll give you the Avenger log. It's probably not going to be tonight because I did the review and I've got to edit it and everything. But it'll probably be within the next couple of days, depending on upload time. So take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting. I'll see you guys really soon in another video. Take care. Have a great week. I'll be seeing you, like I said, soon anyway. So take care, everybody.
Later, guys.
Later, guys. Don't also forget to check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/DarkAvengerINC. We post all of our stuff on there as well. Take care, guys.